Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's Mike. It is Tuesday, the 23rd of January. This is your daily market recap and option flow review. It is now about 3:30, so we got about a half hour to go. I just got off my segment on TD Ameritrade Network. That was a lot of fun. Thank you guys for the feedback and everybody who tuned in. I really appreciate that. So let's just dive into the action today, guys. Today was another one of those grind higher days. We opened the flat, pulled, and then just basically popped back to highs and been sitting here all day long on the SPY and the Qs and the IWM. It's just a nonstop bull flow into this market here at this point, which is great. The one thing I was cautioning everybody earlier today is that we are getting a little heated. And what I mean by that, if you look at the put to call ratios, and we went over this and I'll go over them again, is that, when we start getting down to this 0.05 area, usually we're ripe for to try to take some of this bullishness out of the market. And, likewise, when we get up towards that one, usually we're ripe to take a short squeeze in place. So, you need to start being a little bit more careful with your entries here. We are extended. We've moved a long way. Look at the spot, how far we've gone this year. By the way, as we're sitting here, more flow coming in at NGD all day long. NGD all day long. They've been buying this thing. Feb 350 calls, 3.50 calls now swept. HMNY coming in too. They've been buying those all day too. So big stuff there. So we're getting a little heated, a little bit carried away. So you need to just be careful. Think about what you want. Don't just be chasing everything all over the place. Pull some of your positions back a little bit, just so you have room to add, right? Because everything doesn't always just go straight up. It is earnings season. It is a great time to be bullish in this market, but it's also time that you should be taking a little bit of profits along the way here. So let's jump into it. So today, let's talk about BABA. So BABA, they came after weekly calls early. And I jumped on those weekly 200s that they bought, and they were buying them at 13 cents the first sweeper. I got in at 18. I sold at like 31. Where did I sell? Yeah, 31, right? To 31. And did they go higher? They did. But everybody's like, well, why did you get out? And I'm like, well, because I made my money. I was happy. And they're weekly options. And even though the stock went higher, they've come back in because look at the decay, 15 cents versus 10. I don't generally hold weekly options overnight. So BABA was a nice trade to us. The other thing that gave us a clue that BABA was going to go today was ABA. ABA is a proxy for BABA. This is the old Yahoo. They controlling stake, that big stake they have in BABA is really what drives the stock. So we saw that big sweeper of the 80 calls in February, giving us a clue that there was something up here today. So we'll keep an eye on that here and we'll move forward. I like that. The banks today were pretty good. They held in nice and strong. I'm still in my Citigroup and my Goldman Sachs positions. They're both in June, right? Sitting tight in these. No reason to get out here. They both move well. JP Morgan, sitting here at a new all-time high today. Looks great here as well. What else we have today we can talk about? Let's go into some of the flow today. That was really good. So X, I am long some X now. I'm in the February, where am I? The Feb what? Feb 41 calls at 205. They are, slightly red, but I'm not worried about it. They were buying weekly 4150s. This is a play on maybe a tariff for the steels, the infrastructure plan coming out ahead of earnings. I didn't want to be in weekly, so I bought time. I will look to get out of these by earnings. I think there's a lot of catalysts on X. I talked about this on the TD Ameritrade segment. So, if you're interested in this, I think this is a very good one we could be involved in. I like X a lot, again, still, and I'm going to try to stick with this for a bit, as long as we hold in here. PEP had a rumor today. We had a rumor in PEP again today that there's an activist chatter, and there was a big call spread and a bill risk reversal in PEP today as well. It just isn't going yet. It's close. It's a little bit of a reversal candle today, but it's holding okay. I still think this one has a catalyst. Those calls we've been sitting in forever are almost finally gone. So I like that one moving forward here. What are some other names? We talked about HMY they came after. They came after X today. IBM was picking up flow throughout the day. We talked about IBM yesterday being a good trade here. And, now we know it's in the gap, right? It's in the gap here. It's poked its head at the gap, right at the gap here at this point. This is some place to watch tomorrow. Lots of small little sweepers coming into it here throughout the day and so forth. So, and it looks kind of nice here. So if this can go in the gap, it's going to be a nice trade. So you got to keep an eye on this one tomorrow. In the oil patch, XOM caught a good amount of flow today. I want to check open interest changes on this tomorrow. Because there's a lot of already existing stuff in some of these strikes that got hit. So I want to take a look because it can be very hard to tell if something's opening or closing at this point. So I love it. I like XOM here. I would look for this to go again. Got a little bit of time ahead earnings. We're just poking our head back above this downtrend here. So it's a name that's on my radar as we move forward. The other one they've been really all over is APC. APC in that space, they've been all over that this week as well. New high here on this one as well. Moving still, you can see they're still sweeping into the Fed calls very aggressively here. So I like these names, the energy space and biotech today. I took my profits on SRPT. I am no longer SRPT. I'm no longer in the Feb 75 calls. I got out at $1.15 from 0.65 today, right? You see that was put there. I did trade Matt. I was able to scalp Matt on that flow, and really this was not a good trade. It was a good trade and it wasn't a good trade. So I caught it early. I jumped in, and on this candle when it started to pull into here, I let myself taken out at the 80 spot, right? And it turned and it went much higher, and it would have been instead of a nice trade, it would have been a fabulous trade. So sometimes you just need to put a stop in at break even, which was all the way down at 1637. So I got in early enough that they never came close to violating it, right? Could have stayed in it and sat in there and been fine. But I wanted to make sure I took some profits. So I stayed with that as well and took that one off here. What else today did I trade? I traded that. And that's really about it today, guys. I didn't do a lot of trading today. Again, just being a little bit more selective up here. Yeah, Chris. Yep. Yep, that IBM now. That IBM gap could create a lot of resistance here. It's hard to sell. You got an island top, right? In the short term, not in the long term chart, but let's open this up. In the short term chart, you have an island top here. Chris is talking about, and it could, right? But this is a stock that had a lot going for it, Chris, and it just had run too far into earnings, and earnings were good. I actually think it's going to fill this gap. I think if the market holds in, they're going to take this right back up here to that 170 mark. So maybe tomorrow we'll look at some 170 calls on this thing and see if we can get involved in it. Yesterday was all that sneaky buying we caught early on. So it still looks really good to me here. They've been buying Cisco all day as well. The reason I haven't touched Cisco, because it's just too far gone for me. When you see them coming in, and here's some more. Speaking of Cisco, there's more coming in here as I'm talking to you guys. But when you see something that's moved that much, I just don't want to take it. I don't want to be chasing it up here at all-time highs at this point. But they've been coming after it all day. June 46 calls up here times 250 of them at least at 0.80. So just steady nonstop flow coming into this one as well. OSTK, another name that got it. This one's looking good here today as well. The first day we're finally seeing something, so maybe we'll look at this again tomorrow. I will tell you that I did not want to touch the weekly options. There was 2 weekly call sweepers into OSTK. And then just after that, we got the news from Mox Reports, right? Very, very long OSTK. And I understand the negative side of this, right? And boom, OSTK goes nuts. All right, and then the guy closed the sweeper. Who do you think the sweeper was? Okay, this guy knew he was going to come out, pump this tweet, and get a lot of people involved, and he took it. Nice double plus on those options. Those options are very hard to trade. They're very illiquid. I will tell you today that I looked at grabbing 100 or 200 shares right in this area and just didn't. I think, I'm sorry, 77. It was 77 and change. That would have been, if I'd held it, would have been a nice trade, right? And the one thing I want to point out to you guys on this, you don't have to trade options. 100 shares on this thing, on a stock that can move $6, $7 a day, that's money. And if you don't have a big account, 100 shares, you can do that. If you have a big account, obviously you can take more. My point is there's always more than one way to skin a cat. When options are not real liquid or real easy to get in and out of because of wide spreads, try some common. Take some small common. Make some money. Matt, I grabbed 1,000 shares quickly. Boom, gone. made what, 400 and something bucks in about a minute. It was gone. So, it's not a horrible trade. You take it and you run, and you don't look back and you say, okay, that's a good trade. You don't have the issues of getting out. You can put your stops in a little tighter as well. So that said, today was a great day, a fun day. Tomorrow is going to be another day. We don't have a lot of big earnings today and tonight. GE is in the morning. I can care less what GE does here. My gut says this thing's so beaten up, maybe it gets some kind of bounce here tomorrow. I'm not sure. I'm putting this out there for everybody. If you're watching this, smartoptiontrading.com, please come out and give me a try. You can sign up here for $25 for your first 30 days. I call all the option flow every day in the room. I call out news. I call my trades. We do open interest changes. Every morning we do a video on setups, right? Different setups we're looking at, what I think of the market overall that day. You have this video every night, which is a recap video about talking about the best flow, what I still like, what I've done. And then we also do a webinar every Thursday night, 6 o'clock. It's just a subscriber webinar. It's only for people in the service, so we can sit down and just have a very intimate conversation and ask any kind of questions you guys want to. So smartoptiontrading.com. I'll put a link in the description here. Love to have you guys sign up. With that said, I hope everybody's had a great day and a great start to the year. It has been a very good year for all of us. But this is a time not to be chasing things long, but a time to be taking a little bit more care here and just take it easy. So that said, I'll see you guys all in the morning. Everybody have a great night, and thanks for listening.